Did come back a long way. After Chris Broad's dismissal, Martin Moxon came in, survived one tremendous appeal for OBW where he didn't play a shot, and it looked to be perilously close. 20 for 1 England finished at the close of play, and the bowling figures from the West Indies, they used only Malcolm Marshall and Patrick Patterson, 1 for 11 for Marshall, Patterson no wicket for 9. Been added to the overnight total, and Patterson is coming into bowl to Graham Gooch. Superbly struck.
Almost as the bowler let go of the ball, one sensed that that would be punished.
It's Patterson now to Moxon. That's 4. Certainly not off the middle, but it'll still please Moxon more than it did Patterson.
The danger man, Marshall. One more to Graham Gooch. There's a good shot, it was in the air. Patterson got down to it. Won't be 4, but a little bit of an iffish stroke.
And that's what happens when you're driven a little bit on your back foot with these quick bowlers, and you're probably just that fraction late in getting onto the front foot. And that was very close to Patterson's hand, only 2 or 3 inches, but it was pretty firm, almost going for 4.
Patterson had a bowl to Moxon. There's a good shot. That's 4 runs.
Well, that'll do Martin Moxon's confidence a little bit of good.
That brings up the 50. That came off just 94 deliveries. That's the length, and that really wasn't where Moxon was playing it, but it's 4 more. Ambrose to Moxon. That's out. Fine catch, fine delivery, and Curtly Ambrose has struck. It's the wicket West Indies wanted. It's an important one. Martin Moxon. No real blame attached to him for this. A good delivery.
And the point was said that Ambrose and Walsh would pitch the ball farther up, and that was the perfect length for this wicket. Had to play it to Moxon. It was roundabout off stump, just outside. But certainly had to play, and that little bit of extra bounce just carrying through to Richards at slip there.
New batsman David Gower.
Rather an involuntary shot there from David Gower. Dropped the wrist job, and the ball hit the bat rather than the bat make any deliberate contact. That's a neat stroke. A little bit of extra bounce there for Courtney Walsh. Patterson, the fielder. And 3 to go. That's nicely timed, and at great peril to the short leg Gus Logie.
Very classy stroke that from a pretty classy player. Perfect timing. Off the back foot about hip height. And Gus Logie having to take evasive action.
Good, should look for two there. Patterson's the fielder. Curtly Ambrose is down at deep fine leg. Just two from that shot. Must have looked to Gower as though he was going to go for four.
The man that so many of England's hopes rest on. Just got a bit stuck lately since he lost his partner Moxon. Some 5.5 overs ago, he scored 3 singles while David Gower's scored 21 runs. Beautiful stroke again, this from David Gower. Off the hip, repeat of a stroke that he played off the same bowler about 4 overs ago with the same result.
That's the problem area for the left-hander. Courtney Walsh picked him up at Trent Bridge in very similar fashion to that. And it was that ball going past the edge of Gower's bat that brought the umpires together. They got out their light meters, and it was the grey skies that eventually took the players off with a score at 88 for 2. It didn't look too promising, even though the light improved a little before lunch. They might have come out for an over or so, but decided instead to take an early meal. We pick up play now after lunch, just 4 runs added, and David Gower again is facing Ambrose.
Oh, super shot. That's the very best of David Gower. A little bit of room outside off stump. And that quite vicious flick of the wrists sends the ball away to third man. Another beautiful shot by Gower. Finely timed and finely played down to the pavilion fence there. The speed of the ball running sweetly and smoothly down to fine leg. 4 runs. And England's 100 comes up off 175 balls.
a sweetly timed shot by David Gower. And how his score leaps along. They all seem to be deft touches, but there's great timing and eventual power. Courtney Walsh, the bowler, and Gooch, 35 not out. Well bowled indeed. The bowling's been shared between Curtly Ambrose and Courtney Walsh here from the pavilion end. Relentless pace, plenty of movement off the pitch. Seen some good strokes, very positive stroke play, many of which have gone for 4. But just no luck for Courtney that time. For the 50 partnership. It's come up off 81 balls. You see there that David Gower, 42 not out, has actually overtaken Graham Gooch on 36. It's Arthurton, the substitute fielder, and Gower's gone. Well, I don't think I've ever seen David Gower out on the mishook, but all credit to the West Indies. That was bowled for, and the man fielding out there instead of Gordon Greenwich, Keith Arthurton, waltzed underneath it, took it easily, and that really is a bit of a chuck away.
And David Gower will be really cross with himself here because he's committed to the shot. The ball's missing off stump by quite a long way, which meant that he never really had the sort of control over it that he would have liked.
Yes, what started in line with his body, about leg stump, in fact ended up well outside off stump when he was really trying to tug it across, and from that moment it became out of control. And a good catch. 112 for 3 then, and still a lot more work needed to be done by the England batsman. Curtly Ambrose from the nursery end. Lamb is off the mark in a very positive fashion. And he'll feel a little easier now.
Malcolm Marshall now coming back into the attack. He's only had the one spell today. He replaces Ambrose. Well, straight into top gear. It's quite a loosener.
Yes, but a pretty good loosener. Just a touch wide, but Gooch certainly played at it. And the ball going wider still, so a little bit of movement there for Malcolm Marshall away from the bat. And he hasn't done that too often in this Test series so far.
Well, that's done it. First one away and then the other. And Graham Gooch nearly dropped his bat, but well, what a strike from Malcolm Marshall and the West Indies. No wonder he's delighted, they're delighted. Graham Gooch is not having played the anchor role so well for England. 44 runs, 106 balls, 3 1/4 hours and 5 boundaries. Good solid performance from the England opener.
Yes, a little bit lazy there. He's not going right at it, but certainly playing with a bit of a gap. Not really in one of the best Gooch innings there.
Now the innings right back in the balance. New batsman Derek Pringle. Not for the first time this summer, Ray, coming into, if not a crisis, at least a quite sticky situation. Pringle off the mark straight away.
Courtney Walsh. And Duchamp has taken a great catch. Marvellous wicket-keeping catch with Pringle going for the hook shot. He got either an edge or the glove. Looked a little more like the glove. And Courtney Walsh has had just reward for some splendid bowling. Pringle caught Duchamp, bowled Walsh for 1, and it's 134 for 5. Just the glove, and Duchamp momentarily would have been unsighted and then made good ground, and Pringle didn't wait. Pringle out for 1, and Downton is the new batsman.
Well, they don't look too disappointed with what's happened, but I'm sure they'd have been looking for 1 or even 2 less wickets lost at this stage of the proceedings. Oh, huge appeal, and he's gone. Lamb doesn't tend to get very far forward, pushing in front of his leg and possibly round it. Disappointed there, but another great strike for West Indies and for Malcolm Marshall. Lamb having been in for well over an hour for just those 10 runs, and now England in trouble.
It's Marshall again that creates it, having bowled outside that off stump and left the bat. This one he brought back from outside the off stump.
And Lamb's departure sees the arrival of the New England captain, John Embury. Probably the warmest reception to greet any batsman so far in this match. Marshall just adjusting his field to him. He's also played a fair number of his test matches against the West Indies. 12 of them. There we are. That's quite a greeting, whether you're captain or not.
First ball, quick bouncer. Embury taking his eye off the ball, whack on the ear.
Patrick Patterson now, having replaced Courtney Walsh. There's a good shot from Paul Downton.
Paul Downton very quickly onto that. Patterson hasn't yet worked up to full pace. The ball not really bouncing, but all credit to Downton as he watched it all the way, rolled the wrists. It was all pretty classic.
Yes, for a middle order batsman to do that against a world-class fast bowling attack. Oh, what a delivery off the ridge.
Yes, well, if you hit that right length, we've said it before, there's always something in this wicket. Paul Downton there did pretty well to get inside that, because it actually came back like a big off break and he was still inside the line.
Well, one which may well have held up.
Well, there you saw the advantage of that length. The previous ball came back like an off break, and that one going slightly up the hill. Paul Downton managed to get inside both of them.
Well, that's a very fine piece of bowling. And it had Emery all tied up. Almost cut him in two.
Yes, doesn't use too much backlift, Emery, but it's very effective when he does there. Can't place a field for that sort of a shot.
not a particularly good stroke from John Embury. It brings about the loss of the next wicket for England, that Patterson has through him by sheer pace. Looked as though Embury started off to play a pull shot, but was never anywhere near completing the stroke.
No, he's had a pretty torrid time from Patterson. It was bowled pretty quick, short of a length. That was certainly short of a length, but it was not a pulling shot, and particularly at that pace. Really just played off the back foot on the offside would have been better effort altogether, and John Embury done completely on pace now.
Now Gladstone Small facing his first ball from Patrick Patterson. On the way to a nice start. This is Malcolm Marshall, and he's bowling to Paul Down. Well, that looks absolutely plumb, and at first glance, looked as though it may not have got up all that much, but I suspect he was merely beaten for pace.
Yes, I think it probably was more on pace.
Paul Jarvis, the new batsman. Good start for Paul Jarvis. He looked as though he's waiting for the Yorker, got it, and still managed to get it away. That's the second occasion where batsman has ducked into a shortish pitched ball. Embury got one first ball. And that's beautifully bowled. That is very, very clever bowling. Desmond Haynes is the man at mid-on. Marshall put the man over the offside and bowled a slower ball. Jarvis was drawn into the drive. That's very, very thoughtful stuff from the West Indian fast bowler.
Yes, I was just saying there that he was going to hold it back and get him caught in the covers. But Paul Jarvis managed to find the one man on the leg side. But certainly Marshall did him with the change of pace. Jarvis was through the stroke. You can see there, he didn't make contact until he'd lost control of the bat, really. And the ball just lobbing up there to mid-on.
And a brilliant effort from Malcolm Marshall. Graham Dilley has his stumps spread all over the place. Gladstone Small remains not out. That's a great effort by the West Indian bowlers. There was nothing England could do about it. They fought hard enough, but the West Indies did wonderfully well. The top scorer, David Gower, 46. He'll regret that stroke caught by the subfielder Arthurton, and well caught too, off the unlucky Courtney Walsh. But it was a fine effort. Gooch, 44, and Ambrose chipping in for the wicket of Martin Moxon early on. Bowling figures reflect everything that happened out there today. Malcolm Marshall, 6 for 32. Once again, 5 wickets in a test match innings. A great performance from him. And I thought Courtney Walsh bowled really beautifully. 16 overs, 6 maidens, 2 for 36. And my word, it could have been so much better than that. Patterson and Ambrose both did well. But only the 4 bowlers used. And just to underline what a great bowler Malcolm Marshall is, there's a list of the world bowlers and their strike rates. Marshall, a wicket every 45 balls bowled. Fred Truman, he's gone ahead of Fred, and Fred was a great bowler. Everyone on that list a superb performer. Interestingly enough, the names of Marshall, Holding, Garner and Andy Roberts, they're all modern-day West Indian fast bowlers, and they all make that list. And a terrific performance from Malcolm Marshall, not only today but over recent years as well. So the position of the game at that point, the West Indies 44 runs ahead, having bowled England out for 165. But when the West Indies went in for their second innings, there were quite a number of stoppages for bad light. The umpires kept looking at their light meters, the covers came on, as they're required to do under the playing regulations for this tour, for the Cornhill Test matches. And the umpires and players were on and off 3 or 4 times before finally play was called off for the day. And that was with the situation, the West Indies in their second innings, 16 for no wicket, giving them an overall lead of 60. Greenwich's 12 not out, and